This is going to be a very special session. You are well aware of the title, of course. Maybe you've seen the first session, the first introduction of these guys' work last year. Bluetooth is kind of a quasi-standard in near-range wireless technology in connecting small devices. And of course, it can be a very complex technology, and it has a wide range of applications, which means it can be very interesting to explore, and it can inspire great curiosity in some species of people. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to watch your cell phones. Last year, they introduced Bluver. Let's see what else they have been working on. We are very proud to have here Martin Herfurth, Marcel Holtmann, and Adam Lorry. Give a warm welcome.
Thank you. And yeah, thank you for having us back again. Hopefully, we're going to introduce some new stuff which you'll find interesting. We're not just going over old ground, but we'll go over the existing attacks as well, so for those of you that didn't see the last time or aren't aware of what's out there. So the agenda will be, we're going to go quickly over the technology, not too much on that. We're going to try and make this as interactive as possible. So when we get to the actual demonstrations of attacks, we'll try and do, or audits I should say, we'll try and do as much as we can with the audience. So if you want to participate, leave your Bluetooth switched on. You can trust us. But having said that, if you don't, switch it off, because the more devices there are, the longer the scans take, and that's kind of boring, waiting for scans to finish. But we see some interesting stuff normally when we scan the room. So we'll go through the technology, we'll go through the security mechanisms, the known vulnerabilities, and then we'll introduce the new stuff we've been working on for the last year and move quickly on to the demonstrations. So who we are, we have Marcel Holtmann on the end here. He's the co-maintainer, the sole maintainer of the Linux Bluetooth stack, BlueZ. So any of you who are using Linux or developing new interesting phones and things, you're probably using his tools. Martin on the end, the far end from me, is a security researcher from Salzburg. He founded the group tryfinite.org that we're all members of, and we welcome new members, anyone who's working in this field who wants to get in touch with us, maybe join the group. You're always welcome, so go and have a look. The tryfinite.org is our main site. I'm Adam Lorry. I work for the Bunker Secure Hosting. I'm the Chief Security Officer there, and I also publish Apache SSL. I also get involved in a global conference, it's becoming global, but sister of a global conference, DEF CON. So I know how hard these guys work putting this on. It's really nice to be somewhere and not actually be responsible for any of it. So we're coming to the end of the conference. I think we should all say a big thank you to the guys who put this on, the Angels and Tim Pritlove and all his gang. So thanks guys, great conference. So this is what we're worried about.
Okay, does this work? Okay, nice.
Yeah, so Marcel's going to give us
basically, first one question. Who of you used Bluetooth before? Hands up. Oh, and other way around? Who doesn't? That's quite still a lot. So another question, who knows how it works? It's almost the same as last year when I had these questions. So basically what we do, we have a quick introduction. I switch to this microphone. I'm using this microphone now, so it's easier. Basically, Bluetooth is a standard, and it's defined by the Bluetooth SIG, Special Interest Group. It's a trade association founded in '98, and they license and own the IP behind Bluetooth. Basically what I always say, it's a general cable replacement, and we try to replace every cable. So meaningless, except two exceptions. It's the power cable, okay, batteries and other stuff we have for that, and the monitor cable, or the VGA cable. So we can't really do transmit videos over Bluetooth. Actually we can, but we don't have the bandwidth. Bluetooth is some kind of limited to 1 or 3 Mbit bandwidth. It uses ISM band, 2.4 gigahertz, the same as Wi-Fi, wireless LAN. And the funny thing is they defined it basically from scratch, the complete protocol stack and applications running on top of it. A little bit to the topology. Basically, when they designed Bluetooth, they also introduced the words Piconet and Scatternet. So every device that is communicating with another device creates a Piconet. Basically, the first one of it. The Piconet 1 is one Piconet, and every Piconet has a master with the Eminet and a slave, and basically up to unlimited parked devices or inactive devices, etc. The Piconet is an interesting thing because the Piconet is defined by a hopping sequence. The Bluetooth 6 said, okay, we use a 2.4 gigahertz ISM band. Okay, they have a range and they separated the complete band into 79 channels. Okay, let's use these channels responsible. Change them 1,600 times a second. So they hop a lot to these 79 channels. So what you saw in the earlier days when you had Bluetooth and wireless LAN in the same area, basically the wireless LAN went down because Bluetooth is hopping through the complete spectrum and blocking the wireless LAN. To play nice with it, the Bluetooth SIG introduced something that's called adaptive frequency hopping. It's basically meaning they reduce the hopping sequence from 79 channels to 60 channels or something if they found a wireless device, Wi-Fi device or any other device in that band transmitting there. So it tries to play too nice to others, but for that you need a Bluetooth 1.2 device. Otherwise it's not possible. There are some other limitations with a Piconet. Okay, you can have one master, really only one, and up to 7 active slaves. So basically nowadays every chip supports 7 slaves. The funny thing is they designed it that you can have up to unlimited parked or inactive devices in a Piconet, but in general no chip is capable of handling this much devices because they need storage to store the addresses for these devices, and basically the chips are small, the chips supposed to be small, and there's no space, no memory for it to store it. So the general rule is one master and 7 slaves. That's the general rule for any Bluetooth chip that I've seen so far. Then you think, okay, now we are limited to 7 active devices, one master makes 8 devices. If you want to have more than one Piconet, what do? We put 2 Piconets together and form a Scatternet, an otherwise word they created with Bluetooth. Basically you can have a bridging device. In this case it's slave in both devices, but you can also have its master in one device and slave in another Piconet, and then you create a Scatternet too. The only thing that you can't do is have a master that is part of 2 different Piconets. Because as I said, the Piconet is defined by the hopping sequence, and the hopping sequence is defined by the master's clock, and so it's basically the same Piconet if you be the master of one. Okay, as I said, it's going to be a quick introduction, so we left almost a lot of stuff out for what really Bluetooth is and how it works. So if you want more information, go to our website and download the older presentations. There's a lot more information in there, but what we need is a general stack. So this is a Bluetooth 1.1 stack. It's quite easy when you look at it. So we have a Bluetooth radio on the layer down, and we have a baseband FE link manager. This is basically what the hardware of Bluetooth. If you buy a Bluetooth dongle, USB dongle, PCMCIA card, or whatever, this is what you get. A radio, baseband, and a link manager. Then you get an interface called HCI, host controller interface, which is USB, PCMCIA, or whatever standard you want to have. And the rest is running on your PC side. In case of a mobile phone or a PDA or whatever, everything of this is running inside the phone, but it's still separated. This is the hardware piece, and this is running on the CPU of the phone. This is defined by the Bluetooth stick, and up to these layers is also defined by the Bluetooth stick. Okay, L2CAP means logical link control and adaptation protocol. It's basically there for doing multiplexing, segmentation and reassembly and other stuff to abstract from the real packets that are going over the air. The RFCOM is derived from the IRCOM, from the infrared standard. Is basically a serial port emulation. TCS is a telephonic control system and is basically there for attaching your mobile phone to a landline base station, and let's make it connected to DECT or ISDN or whatever. Obviously the mobile phone provider never really liked that because they want to have you use their mobile phones and give them your money. The SDP is a service discovery protocol. It's basically a protocol designed, okay, here's a device, no device, please tell me what services you support, what applications can I do with you. For example, can I use you to dial up into the internet? Can I use you to make a voice, use your headset, or whatever thing you can think of, or send a business card or something like that. The stuff above this layer is basically adapted from already existing protocol suites, RFCs or whatever. So the OBEX from the infrared specification, TCP IP and PPP from the RFCs, AT commands from the ETSI specification, and there are a lot of more protocols that they adapted to make it easy for the vendors in the early days to implement everything. And on top of it, of course, you have the applications that are running. For example, WV dial for dial up the internet, or an OBEX push application to send a business card or something like that. I basically like to divide the stack into these three parts, and we also did the separation for the security in this part. So on the hardware level, we have the Bluetooth security mechanism on the Bluetooth chip. The cipher and the authentication mechanism are all implemented in the hardware for Bluetooth. There's no software implementation. So what you have to, on the Bluetooth host security mechanism, which is basically the Bluetooth stack, you have only two functions. The chip needs a pin. The host has to enter a pin, so it has to display some kind of dialog box where you enter the pin code, and then has to generate a link key. A link key is a unique identifier for accessing the Piconet, generate it, and then notify the host about the link key so it can store it. For further connection, it has to provide the link key to the Bluetooth chip, etc. That's basically what the host security is about. And of course, on the higher layers, the application securities, TLS, SSL, SSH, any authentication scheme, for example, from PPP or OBEX or whatever, what you can ever think of. Another thing is that they really put into, which is really a nice thing, they defined 3 different security modes. So basically, security mode 1 means no active security enforcement. This doesn't mean no security at all. It means only, okay, we play along without security as long as both sides agree. If one side wants security, the other one has to comply and say, okay, then we do security. It's a basic definition, but it's a good one. So not if the one side says, okay, I can't do any encryption or authentication or any security at all, it says, okay, then we can't establish a Piconet, period, that's it. Security mode is, of course, based on, security mode 2 is, of course, based on security mode 1 and says, okay, if a service is there running, for example, dialing up the internet, then please authenticate yourself and activate encryption, etc. The security mode 3 is another thing that they said, okay, we need for every low-level Piconet connection, we need security mode 3. So whatever you want to do before you establish the Piconet finally, you have to do with the authentication and also the encryption. What do you think? What is the most secure mode? Again, please? 2 or 3? Okay, 1 is obviously not. What is the most secure mode? 2 or 3? Hands up for 2. Hands up for 3. Hands up who don't know. Okay. The funny thing, the security mode 3 must not be obviously the most secure mode. Because, for example, if you have 2 services running, for example, pushing a business card and another one to dial up the internet, you don't want to have security for the business card exchange because, as I always say, you don't give the key to your host to someone that you barely know, but you maybe give your business card away. Security mode, in security mode 3, you gave them basically the key to your host. Security mode 3, you can separate between these. So there's a white paper out there from the Bluetooth SIG that says security mode 3 is the most secure mode. That is simply wrong, and it will be corrected in the near future. So basically what you want to have security mode 2 with an additional policy manager to manage your different services. Keep that in mind. Don't ever trust the high numbers. They're not always right. Okay, as I said, we have something that is doing authentication and encryption, etc. So basically, the Bluetooth SIG has one problem. They named everything different. It's really odd. So authentication basically means something like pairing, or maybe you heard of bonding. So pairing is, in general, the creation of a link key. So to create a link key, you need a random number that is provided by the hardware, blah, 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 but you also need a PIN code. And the PIN code must be entered on both sides of the connection, and it must be the same PIN code. So basically, the hardware says, okay, give me the PIN code. It gives you an event, okay.